Ms. Monahan.
Students of mine, you'll find me at 6860 Cascade Road. My speech reflects my views only and no affiliated organization. Ratings in front of this board seem irrelevant, but I recommend all minors leave immediately. On 9/23/24 by email, Board President Fossen wrote, quote, FHPS libraries do not contain pornography. We have not included pornography in our collections in the past, do not have it now, and do not intend to include it in the future. This book is The Carnival at Bray by Jesse Foley. You will find it at Northern High School, available to students as young as 14. Well, Maggie said, putting an arm around her sister's shoulders, when you're 16 and I'm 21, we'll talk all about this, establishing that Maggie is 16 years old. The whiskey's power hit her square in the face. I don't feel so good, she said. Are you going to gawk? Paul asked. Maybe. She tried to smile at him, but her head hurt. He grabbed her waist and he kissed her, his spit cold and wet on her lips. She kissed him back, eyes drifting shut, mouth holding open. She felt his cold fingers yank up her sweater and squeeze her breast roughly. He pulled her sweater off, and then after some fumbling her bra, and dropped both pieces of clothing to the wet ground. She could feel her nipples pucker and tighten at the salted wind. He began to tug at them hard, and she grimaced. It didn't occur to her to tell him to stop. With his free hand, he yanked the button of her jeans, pulled on her zipper, and stuffed his hand down her underpants. He found her warm opening and twisted 2 fingers inside. Her breath caught sharply as the tight tissue inside her unknit itself and gave way. And then the strangest thing happened. The pain of what he was doing to her somehow made her feel better. A memory floated before her of Samantha Steindl, who had taken Maggie into the bathroom, unbuttoned the cuff of her school blouse, and showed Maggie the pattern of razor marks she scored herself with. Hurting myself is the only thing that makes me feel better, Samantha had said. Now, with Paul's fingers twisting inside her, his teeth on the skin of her breast, she finally understood. He pulled his hand from between her legs, and she heard the dull clinking of his belt buckle, the sharp exhale of his zipper being undone. Put your mouth on it, he whispered. His forearm a heavy pressure on her shoulders, and she crouched, naked spine facing seaward. He put his hands on the back of her head, pushed her closer to his thighs, so she was nearly choking on it. And then his whole body stiffened in a moan. To stop herself from vomiting, she spit it out all on the ground. The next morning, she found a streak of bright red blood in the crotch of her underwear. She balled them tightly and threw them in the trash. She took a long, steamy shower. She never thought she'd be one of those girls who gave her body to someone she didn't even like. But then she thought, looking up at the tiled ceiling to stop herself from crying, isn't that what growing up meant? Wasn't it just a succession of actions and incidents where you break your childhood promises to yourself and do the very things you always said you wouldn't do? Good day.
Calvin Vanderboom.
Hello. Calvin Vanderboom. I live in Lowell, but I've got 2 daughters in the district. I graduated from Northern, went to school at CJ. I was a public high school teacher for 10 years. I wrote curriculum for 4 years. So I'm saying that because I'm aware of school systems and how they function. I've been very happy with Forest Hills. I do have an issue with an assignment called Social Issues Book Club that my daughter's starting today, and they're going to be doing for the next 6 weeks, and it's also, my understanding, it's being used district-wide. So we got an email from Kara Lockman on behalf of all the 6th grade English language arts teachers from Northern Trails. In there's a PDF, and it had a list of the books that they'd be using for the book clubs. So it's 7 topics, 21 books, and there's a lot of tangents I could go down. I sent an email to the 2 of you and the 3 board members on the curriculum committee, and it has this in detail, so you can follow up. But my concerns arise because as a teacher, students have First Amendment. We want to encourage all students to be comfortable in the district, but when the district is covering sensitive topics, my understanding is there's a deliberate effort to be unbiased, present all sides, and give students as much freedom as possible. It's just very odd. It's very out of character for Stills. I want to draw your attention to it. My assumption is you're my partners, and I look forward to working with you. But here's some of my questions. So the curriculum limits the Social Issues Book Club to only 7 issues, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It limits them to only these 21 books, which Kara Lockman said the school board approved, and she can't change it, and students are only allowed to pick from those books, which again, just seems odd. Every single book is fictional. Social issues, there's not one real story. Odd. Several of them are on the most controversial books list, which is odd. All of the topics are only presented from one side. So for example, LGBTQ is one of the topics. There's only pro-LGBTQ books. Odd. All of those one-sided views also happen to align with left-wing political views. Odd. The racism topic has 250% to 700% more books than any other topic. The endangered species environmental topic only has one book. I'm not sure how you can be very broad. But my main concern is related to the sexual content.
Okay,
So-
thank you. I'm sorry, comments are limited to 3 minutes. You hit your 3
Okay,
minutes.
you have the ability to extend. Will you extend it?
No, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We just do 3 minutes.
No, in your own board policies, it says you have the ability to extend and modify.
From what I understand, it sounds like you sent some emails around and you requested follow-up, so we'll be sure to follow up.
Okay, seems odd you wouldn't want to hear it.
Thank you. All right, up next is Doug Lee. Doug Lee?
Oh, sorry. My name is Doug Lee, and I live in 52nd Street. I want to welcome two of the members. I have been speaking here now, this is my 5th year. I'm pretty well versed on the policies, the procedures, and the education and grading systems within Forest Hills. I had 4 children graduate from Forest Hills, and I have grandkids coming up. I appreciate, nobody wants to work. Our public school systems are failing across the state. There's 540 school districts similar to ours, maybe it's smaller, but not counting the academies and the ISDs, okay? And the state of Michigan ranks those, and when we talk about growth, and Scott did a presentation about where our growth and our math scores are, we were graded on the highest standard. The state of Michigan grades us on our math proficiency at an A, okay? Forest Hills Central math proficiency is 69.77%. If you follow this as long as I have for 5 years, they've added a curve to this just last year. Before last year, they didn't rate us as an A. It tells you the failing school systems across the entire state. In other words, we're ranking ourselves against a failed system. Jared gave an excellent presentation on John Dewey in public education. We have dumbed down our students, and we are accepting 69% as an A. We need to focus on academics. That's been my main subject of conversation for 5 years, academics. We have taken away valedictorian status. We have taken away, we no longer focus on academics, and we're failing. I paid my taxes. I went down to Cascade Township, they stamped my bill, and you know my second largest expense on my tax bill, just same as everybody else who lives in this district, is your taxes to go to this school. Our own kids cannot afford to live in Forest Hills. I mean, they're young enough and they don't have a job, they're not gonna live here because the taxes are so high. We have put education first in Forest Hills for 30 years. It has always been first. The community provides the money, the funding, everything we ask for because we put education first. But I would tell you that the public does not know, and probably the new school board members don't know how bad public education is and how it's failing across the state of Michigan. And money's not gonna solve the issue. You can simply look at Grand Rapids Public. They operated on a $340 million budget with only 13,000 students. We have under 10,000 students, we have $138 or $142 million budget, and our student enrollment continues to decrease. Something's broken. You cannot just keep going down the same path, and nice chart shows you how well we're doing if we're already on a curve. I don't know how we can feel good about that. We can do better. I'm not here to criticize, I'm just saying, let's change the standards. Let's do better than what everybody else is and be an average. And no longer accept
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
69% as an A.
Thank you.